Okay, this is English 373, week 6, part 1. So let's get started on Coriolanus, our second play. Hopefully, by the way, my recommendation to you for the best way to get the most out of this lecture would be to read a summary of Coriolanus, then watch the movie of Coriolanus, and then come and do this thing with me with the actual words and speeches. That way you have an idea of it just gives you an anchor. That way you have the story of Coriolanus and you've seen it in the most exciting version, and then you can see where the speeches fit in to the overall arcing story. So the opening of Coriolanus, it starts off with the citizens protesting. It's a protest essentially at the beginning. They're not being given enough food. They feel that the wealthy nobility controls the food, and that the poor people don't have access to this food, and so they complain. And it's an interesting it's pretty neat, partly because it feels so modern. So the citizen says, "We are accounted poor citizens. The patricians good." Patricians are like the upper class people. "What authority Sir Feetson would relieve us? If they would yield us but the superfluity while it were wholesome, we might guess they relieved us humanely, but they think we are too dear. The leanness that afflicts us, the object of our misery, is an inventory to particularize their abundance. Our sufferance is a gain to them. Let us revenge this with our pikes, ere we become rakes. For the gods know I speak this in hunger for bread, not thirst for revenge." It's tough. It's tough reading. Um, but it's neat. And if you break that down sentence by sentence, it makes really interesting points about um, the upper class and the lower class that still resonate today in a lot of really powerful ways. So let's take a look at that more closely. Um, we are accounted poor citizens, the patricians goods. The upper class have all the resources and they don't have anything, they're poor. What authority surfeits on would relieve us. So surfeit is like extra. So it's a really good point that they're talking about food, although you may translate this into talking about money. Their extra, rich people's extra food or rich people's extra money that they're not using, that's just like sitting in a bank account doing nothing, is enough to solve all the problems the poor people have. So that's argument number one here, and it's a good point. I really should get some like wealth inequality videos, because I think people imagine the wealthy, when you're talking about like the 1%, like the really upper class people. People imagine that they have like, 10, they make 10 times as much as you, or 100 times as much as you, but it's not. It's like thousands and thousands of times as much as you. It's just such an absurd amount of money. Um, I'll have to get some statistics on that and bring it in. Um, if they would but yield to us the superfluity, meaning the extra, while it were wholesome, if they would give us the extra food before it went bad, because they're not using it anyway, so it's going to go bad, we might guess they relieved us humanely. Restaurants, for example, throw away a lot of food. Perfectly good food. Grocery stores throw away perfectly good vegetables. They should just give it away. They tend to throw it away because in capitalism, you don't like to give anything. Oh, just give it for free. That's crazy. Why would people come to my grocery store to buy things if they could just get it at the end of the day for free? But then all this food goes to waste, and people don't eat it. Um, but they think we are too dear, meaning they think it's too expensive to take care of us. The leanness, because they're thin from not eating enough, the leanness that afflicts us, the object of our misery, is as an inventory to particularize their abundance. This sentence, I think, is one of the most powerful sentences in the whole play. The leanness that afflicts us, the object of our misery, is as an inventory to particularize their abundance. The poverty of everyday people is how rich people know they are rich. So they like it like that. The leanness that afflicts us, the object of our misery, is as an inventory to particularize their abundance. Our sufferance is a gain to them. They like that we're suffering because it makes them look good. Um, the sort of the other situation, James Baldwin has a very famous quote about slavery in America, and it's really, this really seemed like it was very true in the last couple of years, especially that for a lot of for a lot of poor white people, they seem to enjoy seeing black people mistreated by the police, because it makes them feel free. So like sending disproportionate amount of black people for things they didn't see. James Baldwin said that for white people, seeing black people in chains made white people feel free, even if they were like dirt poor. It gave them a sense of freedom because at least they were better than that guy. This is the idea that they're saying right here, which is that the rich people want poor people to be poor because it particularizes their abundance. It's an inventory. It's an inventory to particularize their abundance. It demonstrates. It demonstrates like in a list how much they have when they're surrounded by poor people. It's a very, very disturbing idea. It's interesting. Let us revenge this with our pikes. Those are weapons. Ere we become rakes. A pike is like a spear. So he's saying, let's avenge this. Let's kill the rich people with our spears before we become as thin as rakes, because they're losing so much weight because they don't have enough food. The gods know I speak this in hunger for bread, not thirst for revenge. So saying, like, I'm not. It's not like I'm a revengeful person. I'm just hungry. I don't know. It's a pretty powerful opening. To a Shakespeare play, it's very much like a big. It's about class. It already feels bigger than Macbeth, in the sense that well, I guess that's not really true, but it's addressing like a public issue. Um, Macbeth is very much about personal, private hatreds and psychology shit. The opening of this, the citizens, a lot of them don't even really have names. They're just like voices in a crowd. Um, so. Um, Menenius shows up, and he's like the senator, the like nice old man senator from the movie. Menenius shows up to talk to the crowd. These things not in the movie. The movie cuts a lot out, but you see the people protesting. And Menenius shows up, and he tries to defend the system as it exists. And he says, "For the dearth, meaning the lack of food, for the dearth, the gods, not the patricians, make it, and your knees to them, not arms, must help." He says, "Listen, the fact that we don't have enough food, it's not rich. It's not rich people aren't doing that to you. That's just the gods. That's just luck." Again, this is a story that rich people tell. That like, it's just luck. It's not that. So they don't feel if it's just luck, if it's just up to God, then rich people don't have to do anything to help poor people. They just have to get lucky, play the lottery. And he says, "Your knees to them, not arms, must help." There's a joke there because arms has two meanings. Arms means these things, but arms also means weapons. Arm yourself. So he says, the rich people need your knees, meaning they need you to bend the knee and be subservient, not your arms, meaning not you don't attack them. They don't need you to attack them with weapons. They need you to kneel and serve them, because he wants them to go to being back to subservient again. Because right now they're in the middle of a big protest. Alack, you are transported by calamity thither where more attends you, meaning the fact that you don't have food is bad, but the fact that you're attacking us to get it is even worse. You slander the helms of the state, who care for you like fathers, when you curse them as enemies. This is an argument that people still use. It's called paternalism, and it just basically means that like that rich people and poor people the rich people often describe that relationship like we're the fathers, the wise, intelligent ones, and you are like little children, and we need to help you. And Menenius actually says, listen, they are like your fathers, and you are like children. You should respect them like that. That's the respect rich people are looking for. They want servants. They want children who are going to do what they say and recognize they're the father and the boss. You can see this is very much exposes the kind of self-serving stories that the rich and powerful tell, in order to just kind of secure their position. Very frequently, you'll see newspaper articles that are like, 10 habits of the rich and famous. You can get these little books and things. What do rich people do every day to make them more successful? And they always have these stupid things like, I'm a CEO of a company and I make $1 trillion a year and I always get up early and I start my day with a smoothie. And it makes it sound like if you got up early and you started your day with a smoothie, you'd be rich. But if you look into their history, almost the real habit that is the same across all really rich people is their parents were rich. That's the secret. They make it seem like, I'm sure they do get up early and I'm sure they do have a smoothie, but that's not why they're rich. They're rich because their parents are rich. Okay, so this is Coriolanus really investigates issues of class, and I find Coriolanus fascinating, largely because it feels so contemporary and modern. I'll see you in the next video.